Robin, you're muted.
I just unmuted you.
Yes. This is the St. Charles City County Library's monthly Board of Trustees meeting. It is Tuesday, June 9th, 2020. And I will take roll call. Stacy Alvarez.
Here.
Myra Crook.
Here.
Joanne Lakeham.
Here.
Georgianne McNabb. Georgianne. I know she's here. There she is.
I was muted.
That's okay. Justin Collier.
Here.
Mary Reese.
Here.
Gail Zumwalt. She probably is. And Nevada Smith is not here that I know of. We do have a quorum with 7 in attendance.
Okay, very good. My apologies, everyone. Again, they don't like us using Zoom because we have all kinds of interface issues. But we have a public comment tonight. Robin, would you please read that?
Yes, I will do that. One moment. So I will read the public comment that was received this afternoon at 2:59 p.m. from Mr. Arnie C. A.C. Dienoff. Dear all members of the St. Charles City County Public Library District, my comments for the June 9th, 2020 board meeting are as follows. The Board of Trustees meetings need to allow members of the public to speak before the board on the online meetings. This can be accomplished and is allowed by other governmental entities such as the City of O'Fallon. The City of O'Fallon has gone back to in-person meetings a month ago. For the salary and benefit package for all employees, allow upon appropriate evaluation a step increase to employees if they qualify, and no cost of living increase as the federal Midwest Cost of Living Index does not warrant a change or increase at this time. Comment number 3 is regarding the 2021 fiscal year budget to begin July 1st. A, cut the budget by 22% across the board, cut the capital improvement projects by 22%, and cut all employee and administrative travel. Comment number 4 is approve the Cliffroot View branch renovations in the amount of $850,700. Comment 5 is place on hold the renovation of the administrative center as this is not necessary at this time. Vote no on the contract expenditure of $206,000. And comment number 6 is Catherine Linneman branch cleanup. Why is the insurance company not paying the actual expense of $32,000, only $25,000? Why is staff not fighting for the district and taxpayers to recoup the actual costs? Those were the entirety of the comments that were received.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Next on the agenda is reports and correspondence. Financial report, Julie.
All right, we have just concluded May, which is 11 months. We're almost finished with our fiscal year. We're at 98% year to date as far as revenue. We should come close to 100% by end of fiscal year. That really was driven by our tax revenue category and our investment earnings. As far as charges for services, we've not had services for 3 months, so we are short about $200,000 in that line item. As far as expenditures, salaries and benefits are a little bit ahead of budget, which we have commenced the hiring freeze, and we're seeing what that looks like going forward based on the COVID conditions. Materials are in line. As far as operations and technology, I've had some questions regarding supplies. As far as COVID related supplies, excuse me, I will be capturing those amounts as they come through our system, and so I can report on a total amount, what that looks like. I know currently we've spent about $12,000 as far as the plexiglass shields to install in the branches, and we've increased our cleaning service with an annual cost of $40,000 for additional deep cleaning. But as far as your PPE and what have you, we're still seeing those expenses come through. And like I said, I'll capture those so that we can get a better handle on what those additional supply costs look like at the end of this fiscal year and going into the next year. I think, let's see, those were my main points, except for the capital. We have 2.1 million unspent May 31st. 1.6 of that is related to Cliffview and the KLT. So the renovation is targeted to be pretty much completed by fiscal year end, except for the furnishings. And then 1.4 million of the Cliffview renovation obviously will carry over to fiscal 21. Excuse me. Goodness. So if you have any questions.
Questions for Julie? Okay, then we'll move on to the director's report unless you have anything else, Julie.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Alrighty. Jason?
Okay, thank you. So as I said at the head of the written report, I kind of focused in on really highlighting our return to service efforts in the report. I'll talk a little bit about that in a bit, but before I get to that, just a couple of other items. We have approval of the construction bids for Cliffview later on in the meeting today, but I did just want to report that we did present that to the Planning and Zoning Commission in the city of Wentzville last week, and it'll be going before the Board of Aldermen tomorrow evening. And comments from the Planning and Zoning Commission were incredibly positive. They were very enthusiastic about both the design and the reuse of that facility as a library. I mean, I thought it was a great location. So that was exciting to hear all the positive comments that they had. One less exciting thing that didn't make it into the written report is we did have a situation last week at our admin building where a portion of the retaining wall, kind of separating the property from our loading dock, collapsed. So thankfully no one was hurt and the area is stable now, but we will be seeing that expenditure kind of coming through here very soon. And I don't think it will not be insignificant, the amount of the repair. So I don't know, it's 2020 and everything that could happen is happening apparently. Another back to positive though, in the report I did highlight Summer Challenge early results. So our summer reading program, which is called Summer Challenge, is started June 1st, and this is the first time because of circumstances that it has been a primarily online club. And as you can see, we had over 5,500 or almost 5,600 registrations on the first day. So I think people are very used to now doing things online. They're doing it both at the library and in other areas of their life. So that was really, really exciting. And we're seeing, similar response to a lot of our other virtual programming efforts. So much so that I think as we move forward into phasing in-person service, we might have to curtail some of those simply because we're going to have all hands on deck just to serve public in the building. And that's kind of what we've been experiencing since we even opened the book drops on May 26th. So we opened our book drops on May 26th, and there has been a steady flow of materials back ever since. We're quarantining materials for 72 hours. But items that were out at the time that we closed, they're still not due back until mid-July. So we have actually only had about 60,000 items of the 200,000 items that are checked out back. So that sort of started the pretty significant sort of flood of materials in. And then we opened up holds again. So the public could place materials on holds in anticipation of curbside service starting. That happened on June 2nd. And within 36 hours, we had just under 15,000 holds placed. So I think a lot of people have been waiting for a long time to be able to get new library materials. So it's great that the 15,000 holds are placed. What that means is we have to go to the shelves and pull off 15,000 items, and we have to put those 15,000 items somewhere in the location while they're waiting for people to come and pick them up. So I have some pictures in the report of just how the hold shelves have expanded in locations, and there's a lot of catch-up work to do that I think we weren't I think we were anticipating it, but until we started back doing some of these things, we didn't know how significant it would be. So I think that's sort of affecting our plans to when we're going to move into phase 2, which I'll talk about in a moment. But we do need, to have a couple weeks here to get caught up. I mean, there's branches that have 1,000 items on their pick list, which are the items that they have to pull off for holds, and so it's been a challenge to get caught up, and I think staff is working at just as hard as they can, and I'm incredibly proud of everything that they're doing. And then we started curbside, and for the most part, I think all of the comments have been very, very positive. It has been, I think, a challenge in some locations as cars have backed up. But again, staff is doing, I think, a great job. But we are, we're looking to open up our buildings to welcome patrons into the building. So we will be entering phase 2, and we just really firmed up this date today, but in a week from Monday. So June 22nd is when we are going to open up our buildings for limited in-person services. And so what that means is we're really looking at, customers will be allowed in the building. They'll be able to browse the stacks. They'll be able to check out materials and get their own holds from in the building. We're not going to be taking any cash for anything at this point. So it'll be credit card transactions only. And we will have computer and printing access, which, I mean, that's really the thing that we're missing right now. And we know there is a need for that. So we wanted to get back to that as soon as possible. We still won't be having any in-person programming. We won't be having meeting rooms or study rooms available. We won't be doing any passports. We're still not accepting donations of materials. Those are kind of all phase 3 things, and they could be much further down the road. But right now, we just wanted to really get our in-person services going. And those limited hours are going to be at most of our locations, Monday through Thursday, 11 to 7, Friday and Saturday, 11 to 5, and Sunday from 1 to 5. And then at Augusta and Boone's Trail, they'll be Monday, Tuesday, Thursday from 11 to 7, and Saturday from 9:30 to 11:30. So that's our big development today. I know there's a lot of people have been asking when we were going to open the doors again. So we're excited to have an answer to that question now. So happy to answer any additional questions you might have.
Jason, the decorated Enchanted Tour garden posts, are
Yes.
they employees' property, or are they now the library property?
They're the library property. Yeah.
When we're done, you should auction those at something. I mean, those
That
are
is a great
absolutely-
idea.
They are gorgeous. And congratulations to the staff that did that. I was dumbstruck when I saw the work that they had done.
Oh, well, we will pass that along. Yeah, they're pretty fabulous.
And also, congratulations also on the Baking with the Bread Monk Facebook event in May. That was phenomenal. I heard about it from a number of people, so they were looking forward to it too. So, any questions? Nope, no questions. All right, we're on to the statistical report then.
And I'll just kind of highlight a little bit, and you have it up on your screen here. More kind of what I said, and you brought up the Bread Monk, but some of this virtual programming, so that had 4.7 thousand views, the Bread Monk event. And we had a Facebook Live event with Jeffrey Eisner that had 8.7 thousand views. So we are certainly reaching a lot more people doing these types of events. So we are excited about that. And like I said, I think we may have to curtail some of the virtual program that we're doing just to be able to focus on helping the customers who are in front of us as we move forward over the next, handful of months. But I think many of these things will persist because we've seen how successful they have been. So I'm happy to answer questions.
Any questions?
I'll also throw out there's 7.5 thousand views of my message, so that's like almost double the Bread Monk. But
You had 7,000 views.
that's what it says. It frightens me to think about that actually, but
Huh. Okay, I believe you. Sorry.
that's what
I
it
didn't
says.
sound like that. Okay. All right. If there's no questions about the statistical report, correspondence.
We do not have any.
Okay.
None other than the public comments.
Okay. Very good. All right. So we're to the consent agenda. First thing up are the meeting minutes of May 12th and May 20th. If anybody has any amendments to either of those, please make them. Otherwise, could we have a motion for approval? Well, I know there's a motion out there somewhere.
I'll make the motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
And are you, Myra, I think that was you, were you making that on the trustees meeting schedule as well?
Yep, sure.
Okay, we need a second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Georgianne. Any questions or discussion about the consent agenda?
I did want to make one comment about the proposed meeting schedule for next year. For the budget work session on May 26th, next year Memorial Day is on the 5th Monday, which would be the following Monday. So hopefully there is no conflict with this date.
For the county?
Yes. That was my only comment about that.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Anyone opposed? All right, the ayes have it, and the consent agenda is approved. On to the formal agenda. There is no old business, new business. Item 20-50 on salary and benefits.
Okay, so annually the board, pursuant to policy E512.1, which is the compensation plan, approves as part of the budget process and then separately approves the salary matrix for that year. And as I noted in the memo, the policy gives 4 different options for doing that. Approving annual step increases within the grade and across the board, approving only step increases, approving only and across the board, or freezing annual step increases and not approving an across the board increase. As we've talked about in the past, as we've developed the budget, as our current situation is such that we think the 4th option is the appropriate one for this year, to freeze both annual step increases and have no across the board increase. And that is what was used to develop the budget that you will be considering later on in the meeting. So what we would need you to do if you chose was to approve policy E512 as it's presented here with annual step increases frozen and no across the board increase.
Okay. Is there any discussion? Otherwise, could we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve E512 as presented.
I'll
Now,
second.
is there, I'm sorry, who was the second?
Mary?
Okay, sorry, Mary, I talked over you and I couldn't hear your voice. Okay, so we have a motion, a second. Is there any further discussion? All right, all in favor of policy E512?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion is adopted. Item 20-51, approval of the fiscal year 21 annual budget.
All right, you have in your packet the final draft of the budget that is largely what we presented to you at the work session a few weeks back. Just as a reminder, we were very conservative in revenue projections and pared down expenditures. Revenues and expenditures in this budget are essentially even. So it is a balanced budget, but at the same time, as I noted at the work session, that also means we're not at least budgeting to have any surplus to put toward future capital projects, which is something we can't sustain for multiple years in a row. Capital projects here are limited really to routine maintenance things, projects that we already had underway, and specifically ones that will help us work more efficiently. So looking kind of at branch changes that need to be made to facilitate different service models that will allow us to work more efficiently. I am happy to report, though, that this budget has been developed without any revenue from overdue fines, which would mean we would be able to eliminate overdue fines. And should you approve this budget today, we would come back within the next couple of months with all the policy changes to enable us to do that. So I am happy to answer any additional questions that you have.
Questions for Jason or for Julie? No questions? All right, is there a motion then to approve the fiscal year 2021 budget?
I'll move that we approve the fiscal 2021 budget as presented.
Thank you, Georgina. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further questions, comments, concerns anyone has? All right, all in favor of the motion to adopt the fiscal year 2021 budget?
Aye.
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 Opposed? No one being opposed. The fiscal year 2021 budget is adopted. Okay, the next item is 20-52, the award of the contract for the Cliffview Branch construction.
All right, so we have joining us at the meeting tonight, Scott Kolath from Landmark Contract Management. They are serving as construction manager for this project. And we also have Danport and Tiffany Nash here from Project Architecture and Design. Should you have any questions for them? But at this point, I would actually turn it over to Scott to kind of go over the bid process and their Landmark's recommendation for the award of the contract. Maybe.
Can you hear me
Scott,
now?
you're on mute. Oh, there you go.
All right, now I can hear you.
Thank you, Jason. Last month, the Cliffview renovations project was granted the approval to go out to bid. The following day, requests for bids were advertised in the newspaper, and the contract documents were posted on the library's website as well as online plan rooms. On the following Thursday, May 14th, we had our first walkthrough. We had 10 contractors walk through that day. The following week on the 21st, we had the second walkthrough and we had 36 companies walk through. Throughout the bid process, we had a total of 3 addendums issued. The bids were due on June 2nd at 2 o'clock. We received 11 responses. They were open and recorded, and the results were posted on the library's website. And then you can see on the screen, when you accept the alternate number 2, which is the removal of the snow melt in the patio area, the lowest bidder is Aspire Construction Services, LLC, at $850,700. This amount is within the previously approved construction budget. Some of the other factors that we considered for this recommendation is Aspire is located in St. Charles County. The size of this project is well suited for the size of Aspire. And instead of subcontracting work, Aspire has the capability of self-performing a lot of trades. Therefore, we're recommending Aspire Construction Services LLC as the lowest and best bidder for the Cliffview renovations.
Okay. Any further information about this, Jason, or?
No, I think that's it. Scott highlighted the things that I think are important. I think it is significant that this is a company that is located in St. Peters, so that we are keeping, we're using a local contractor, which I think is significant. But yeah, we are ready to get started just as soon as we can.
Okay. Is there any board discussion? If not, could I have a motion?
Joanne,
Yeah.
the projected amount budgeted was what? I don't have that with me.
Oh, I did not.
For the construction, it was $982,000.
Okay, thank you.
It's Stacy. Are we thinking the schedule for the construction needs to be modified at all because of COVID? Or are we still sticking to the same timeline as before?
We're sticking with the timeline that was in the request for bids.
Okay.
And was that the same timeline that was presented back when we were looking at designs and stuff like that?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions or discussion? Scott, have you ever worked with Aspire before?
Were you asking me?
Yes.
I have not.
But you feel looking into them that they're capable of handling the job?
Most definitely, yes. And they're all their references checked out, so I'm confident they'll do a good job.
Okay. Unless there's any other discussion by the board, could we have a motion to award the contract to Cliffview to Aspire Construction Services for an amount not to exceed $850,700?
It's Stacy. I'll make the motion to approve the award of the contract for the Cliffview Branch construction to Aspire Construction Services LLC for an amount not to exceed $850,700.
Thank you, Stacy. We have a second?
I'll second.
Second, Justin.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right. The next item on the agenda is 20-53, the approval of expenditure for construction phase of the administration building interior expansion.
So keeping with the construction theme, this, if you recall at your meeting last month, you approved the demolition phase, but J. Novak, the contractor, was not able to provide a firm quote for the construction phase until the demolition phase was done. They were able to provide their best estimate, but they knew that there could be some conditions uncovered once the demo had been completed. So they've completed the demo, and their original estimate does hold. So they've now provided a firm price quote in the amount of $206,000 to complete the construction portion of the project. And in the memo, I outlined again sort of what the significant pieces of this project are. It's really just a reorganization of the internal space to go from a lot of large dance studios with raised floors and things to more workable space. We're going to be reusing furniture wherever we can. And I mean, this really is just to create some usable office spaces for people who are currently not really in very good functioning offices, and we've added staff and haven't added workplaces in anticipation of this project being completed. So we are ready to get started on that as well, just as soon as it is approved.
To what extent did the COVID-19 distancing requirements impact the cost?
I don't think it impacted the cost at all. One of the reasons that the project is more necessary now is that, you know, we've had, or particularly, like, I'll use as an example, our adult and youth services areas. We added several staff over the past year to that area, and they're just in cubicles, kind of sharing one big cubicle area. So that's really the reason for this. The same with our outreach staff. They're sort of in a section of the warehouse essentially right now in kind of a storage area. So there's nothing, this project did not get more expensive because of COVID. It just, COVID actually now has made it even more important that we do it.
I understand, and that was anticipated.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome.
And cooperative purchasing list for J.E. Novak Construction Company is in accordance with our purchasing policies?
Yes.
Any other discussion or questions on this item? Not, could we have a motion to engage J.E. Novak for the administration building construction interior project not to exceed $206,000?
I'll make the motion to authorize this library staff to engage J.E. Novak for the construction phase of the administration building interior for a project for an amount not to exceed $206,000.
Thanks, Myra. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the motion passes. And then I guess our final item is 20-54, approval of the expenditure for the first phase of Catherine Linneman Branch for the flood repair.
So this, as I mentioned, or as you know, back in the middle of May, there was flooding that occurred during heavy rains overnight at the Catherine Linneman Branch. So they are currently closed. They're not doing curbside or anything, and they will not be opening up the 22nd. And it happened because there was a storm drain that backed up. And so what we have here is a quote for the demo of and the removal of the material that needs to be removed. And just kind of talk a little bit about everything that we're looking at. We are working moving forward. There was a storm drain that was backed up that caused part of it, but also there was water that penetrated in other areas as well. And and then as part of just the remediation, they uncovered evidence that there's been water leakage there in the past. So we will be working with a landscaping company to evaluate that, roofing company. We may need to add some additional gutters and things like that, and weatherproofing. Where we stand right now is the moisture levels of carpets are back to normal. There is some carpet that needs to be replaced because we did have to pull up some carpeting to not hold up the teen area construction. So that needs to be replaced. But the rest of the carpet is actually back to normal. There's still high moisture levels in the walls that were directly impacted by the water, and some exterior walls as well. So these would include like the front entrance, and if you're familiar with Catherine Linneman, the room with the fireplace, the restroom areas. It got back into the manager's office and the staff offices, the circulation area, and then exterior walls kind of all the way around the building, local history, the adult area study rooms by the children's picture books, the drive-up window area, and the meeting room. So, I mean, there was really a lot of water penetration. And then if you're familiar with Catherine Linneman, there's a number of columns. There's damage to a number of those as well. And if you're familiar, they're encased in stone. One of the things that we're running into is that stone is falling off, and that's a decision that needs to be made. We have checked with some of the longtime staff at Catherine Linneman that there's no real significance to that stone. That was just chosen as a design feature. And I think, Myra, you were the only one in the board at that time. So if you know of any significance to that stone where we should preserve it, certainly let us know. But I mean, that might be one thing that simply just for safety's sake, it might be better to remove completely. And then as well, the circulation area, the circulation desk is a total loss. The children's area desk is a loss. So that's just kind of big picture, and we're putting together the plans to put it back together again. I don't want to I mean, I guess in the spirit of making lemonade out of lemons, this actually will enable us to make some changes that will enable a more efficient service model and be a better use of space. And we will try and do those as economically as possible. But, you know, the Catherine Lemon Ranch had a gigantic circulation desk. And that's one of the things that going through the facilities master planning process stood out, that all of our facilities, or in particularly sort of the regional branches, have large service desks that don't really sync with sort of the modern library experience. So we may be able to make some changes now and talk about sort of locating a desk closer to the door and so forth. So it's possible we may have to schedule a meeting, an emergency meeting before the next board meeting to bring those expenditures to you for approval, just so we can get moving. But right now, so what we're bringing now is really just to do the demolition and to pull out the ruined materials and to take that first step. And so that is for $32,000 to Claria Clean. And as noted, we're expecting around $25,000 of that to be covered by insurance. And I can answer any questions.
The collapsed wall that you referred to earlier, was that here?
No, that's at our admin building by the loading dock. That's not related to this.
So it's unrelated.
Right.
But it'll have some impact because it doesn't sound like an inexpensive project.
No, it's not. But yeah, that's an exterior retaining wall outside of the dock.
Okay.
Are there any other questions? Jason, I presume on the insurance we have a deductible.
We do. It's a $5,000 deductible.
So because of this type of flood damage and it being the result of a storm drain, we will most likely not have to have the deductible. So
Okay.
it will be the $25,000.
Great.
Oh.
All right. Any other questions? All right, then I believe the directors requested approval of the $32,000 to complete the first phase of the flood repair at Catherine Linneman. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the expenditure of $32,000 for the first phase of cleaning up Catherine Linneman.
Thank you, Mary. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Gail, was that you?
Yes, I finally got back on. I couldn't get unmuted.
No, I'm there with you. Okay. So is there any further discussion? Okay. All in favor of the motion?
Hi.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the motion passes. Anything else?
Nothing else from us.
Okay. All right. So Jason, do we know yet how we will conduct the July meeting?
We do not know yet. So we'll give that some thought. Like I said, we're opening, our buildings for limited service, but one of the things we're not having meeting rooms open. We're not doing in-person programming. So for the large gatherings of people. So I'll give it some thought about whether we're doing it as an in-person or a Zoom or a combination of those two things.
Okay. All right, and does anybody else have any comments or issues before we close? All right, so we just need a motion to adjourn.
Oh, we have, Joanne,
Yes.
do we have election of officers this late next month?
I don't know, Robin.
We changed that to
No.
August last
did
year.
Right.
That's right.
So it would be election in August for a September start.
So have you heard anything about any appointments by either the city or the county?
I have not heard the most recent that I have heard is the response to the letter that you sent, but I haven't heard anything since that.
Okay.
The county only has one person sitting in a position that's currently expired, so no one's been, the other four are current.
And that's a good thing. Because the city doesn't have anybody.
Are all four city appointments expired?
Well, mine is about to expire, and we have 3 other seats from the city that have not been filled. Justin and Mary have been gracious enough to stick around.
Yeah. And I do appreciate that. I will say that thank you to
That's-
all of you that are continuing to serve.
And I really felt that, thank you, Jason, I really felt that was necessary too, because they are so dedicated to the library, and it's just kind of sad.
So as of June 30th of this year, I have Joanne and Georgianne's terms expiring, as well as Gail's. So
There we are. We'll see you next month.
Yeah.
All right.
One
Stay
vote.
Well, we
healthy.
do need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Stay well.
You too.